Alright, so in this video we will be changing the spur gear in a Stampede 4-wheel drive. Alright, so I'm changing it, putting a bigger one on it so that it's geared down lower because this is my tow rig. So first what we will need to do is there's 2 screws right there. There's one right there and one right there. We'll be taking those 2 screws out along with those 2 screws right there. One right there and one right there. Those 4 need to come out. So now that we got those 4 screws out, we should be able to just take it up. Hold on a second. Okay, so now since I'm doing this, so the way that I have stuff wired up, I'm going to have to cut some zip ties and unplug it right there for my trailer plug. Alright, so now that I got those zip ties cut and the wire unplugged, should be able to just pull it apart. Just like so. So now we can take, and that right there is the gear. You can take and just pull that gear out with bearing and all, just like that. Alright, so now that we've set that aside, we just got this piece. Take your screwdriver and take out, loosen that up, and pull that piece off right there. Maybe. Just like so. We can take, I don't have the right size screwdriver to pull that off, or nut driver, so I just use a pair of pliers. Take it, pull the nut off. Take the nut off, take the spring off, it's a tensioning spring thing, and then you take the bearing off, maybe. There we go. Take that bearing off, it's a bearing in this piece right here, can't get it off, and then you can take the gear off from the shaft. I'm going to take these 3 screws out now. And this piece, the slipper clutch plate, or with the clutches on it, should just fall off. You take and pop the bearing out, just like so. Grab our new one. Put the slipper clutch plate and clutch plates back on it, just like so. Put the 3 screws back in it. Put the bearing back in right there, just pops in. Take your shaft and plate and everything, make sure that that's sitting on there, just like that. Set the gear and everything down on it. Take the bearing assembly, slide the bearing down onto the shaft, up tight against the gear. Take the spring, which I dropped. Hold on a second, I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Take the spring, drop the spring down on there. Take the nut, start turning the nut, and just tighten it back down. So, there's a flat spot on the shaft right there. Take that piece, slide it back on there. Take your screwdriver, tighten it back down, just like so. Next, you gotta take and loosen up that screw right there. Loosen it up Don't take it all the way out, just loosen it up so that you can take and move your motor. And then we're going to take, set guys back down. We're going to take, and this is going to get slid right in there like so. Line it up with your drive shaft in there. Just like so. So now we're going to take, put gear back down, set mesh right. Screwdriver. Tighten this screw back up. That's too tight of a mesh. You want there to be a little bit of slop in it. Just about like that. See, there's just a little bit of slop in that. That's about where you want your gear mesh at. Alright, so next, I'm going to bring this rear assembly back over here. This can be a little bit tricky. So, you're going to have to put it in there like that. You might have to move it around a little bit to get that rear to set in there correctly. Just like that. Now that's in there like that, we can take and put the 2 screws on the top and the 2 screws on the bottom back in it. Alright, so now that we got the 2 screws in the bottom put back in, and the 2 screws in the top put back in, you're done. Now I have to re-zip tie this down and tie the wires back because I had to cut it to take the change spur gear. But you should be done. Now, it should sound about like that. If it's if it makes a louder noise, it's too tight. And if it's too tight, you'll strip the gear again, which you don't want to do.